王なる者の特殊能力である予知能力を開花させました。彼女は私の後を継ぐ次代の女王となるでしょう。今この場で改めてプライドロイヤルアイビーを第一王位継承者と認めます。
I want to make sure that I make clear. Last week's episode of Heretical Boss Last Queen, I may have said something to the effect of, I'm just simply not enjoying the fact that she keeps condemning herself for actions that she has not taken, and I think I may have maybe jumbled over some of my words, and I want to make sure that that sentiment from episode 1 still carries over in episode 2, is I don't feel that Pride in her current form, I can speak, that Pride in her current form should reprimand, defeat herself, or feel down about actions that her video game character would have committed at some point in this theoretical future. The fact is at whatever age she is now, 7, 8 years old, whatever it is, she has taken over the body. So all those actions that would take place in the video game are no longer going to take place because she's in complete control over this little girl's body. So she now has free reign with the knowledge of what could have come to make different decisions to be the best version of herself. Be supportive of Stale, be the future queen, be really close to her sister, what is it? It's not Ivy. Be really close to her sister, Tierra Royal, right? She has now all the power in her hands. And something that dives deeper into that effect even more is the fact that she was awakened to the ability of precognition, but she wasn't actually awakened to anything, which might come to bite her in the ass later. But the good side of that is because of the change of her taking over Princess Pride's body, is her mother, who does have the ability to see precognition and who did have the ability to see that she was going to be a tyrannical, crazy, awful child. She no longer can see her future, so she knows where something changed, as Pride's future is uncertain in her eyes. She can't see her future with her precognition ability. So that will only help Pride in the long run because she can't be found out if she has precognition or not. We just need to know more about what the abilities' effects are, limits, uses, and will it bite her in the ass later on when they look to her, the queen, for not advice, but literal precognition of what's to come? Or will she find a way to be able to use Tiara in the future? Now, I'm not going to worry about that. That's far off. We might not even get to that point this season at all, especially if we stay through childhood. That transitions me into the next day. So that's it. That's all I didn't like. I think this episode was awesome. I think this episode was fantastic, and I absolutely loved it. And one of the things that I like even more is the fact that so much time with Pride being a child. If you're familiar with my content throughout the past, kind of like historical past and stuff, then you'll know that one of my pet peeves in anime is when we get two time skips that are too quick. I love when we actually get time with them as a child. I think that's super important, and when it's done right, like it's being done here, we could really get to know the characters that are surrounding her and everything, including Tiara, including Stale, and including the characters that are going to be there. Even if we get a time skip later, because we're spending so much time with these characters, they're going to mean more to us as we kind of continue on the timeline as viewers, and I absolutely love that. All right, let's talk about the rest of this episode, because I think this episode was freaking fantastic. Again, episode starts with her beating herself up about things that she hasn't done. I don't like that. We've already talked about it. I do like how Stale was second-guessing every single plan in the world because he just wants to be with his mom, or he just wants to see her freely, as he stated. But he's conflicted on going forward with what he originally thought and then moving forward with his plans now because of how Pride is so different than how he had thought. Pride ends up just going Uno reverse, and she ends up striking a deal with her dad that will once a year allow him to write a letter back and forth to his mom, at least until he comes of age and he can begin to strike some legit plans to see his mom more often or take care of her, bring her in the palace, something like that to that effect. So the Uno reverse causes him to just dedicate himself completely to Pride because of the actions that she took. She knows that she can't go see him, or she can't allow him to go see her mom because of the royal shenanigans. She tried to set him free, and he knows that it would just be worse. So he's like, what she did for me is immeasurable. So to give that back, he's gonna serve her completely. Then we see her finally being introduced as the first princess, as the first prince, and we see her finally meeting her sister in Tiara for the first time, which is awesome. She's so cute, blah blah blah. Even she got struck by her cuteness. But one thing that I did notice is that because like of who she was previously, even though she's in control of the body, there's some legit innate emotions of hatred and stuff that are just rooted within like the body system that she kind of felt bubble up a little bit. I thought that was a little cool touch, that even if she was able to get it under control, she was like, no, I definitely am not going to act on this jealousy. The fact that the body still like is there is pretty crazy, and it kind of makes a realistic sense. I really like that quite a bit. Lastly, her mom did in fact announce that she would end up being the next queen because of precognition and everything that she had. So that immediately changes the timeline completely as to what like kind of the way that things happened prior. And things are going in a much better direction as they are now. And then, of course, too, I guess the very, very, very last thing is Stale is beginning to look more like Gilbert, who he's going to need to find out more about going forward. So really great anime, really enjoying it quite a bit. There was that little kind of nitpick that I have, but outside of that, it's just been a amazing and fantastic experience, and I love this. It is so good. And again, I love the fact that we're getting to spend time with her as a child, kind of growing up, because that really just provides more context, and in the long run, it's just going to make it for such a better, enjoyable show to watch, seeing that progression take its time, seeing the anime take its time, and respect us as the viewers of not going 9 years later. And it was like, okay, what happened within those 9 years? Nothing. She picked her nose and ate her boogers, and then she's just suddenly 18. So I love that they're taking that time. Let me know what you thought, though, about the episode down in the comments below. I appreciate you guys being here another week. As always, it's been awesome. I don't know if I'm going to cover this anime every single week. It just depends on how viewership is, but I at least wanted to cover another episode. So shout out in the comments of what you thought, and I'll see you guys next week, potentially for episode 3. Peace.